Okay. Thank you. So I'll just start the recording. There are like 6 students in the room. Thank you for being on time. Probably more people will be joining on the way. I'm recording the session. It's because we will use this to give first-hand information to all of our students going forward. So we will put this recording to our YouTube page. You can also download it from there, and it will be used for our, informative purposes. Okay, all right. Good to see you all here. We have Angela on the line. Angela, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity for me to be able to speak to you, even though I can't really be with you right now, but virtually it really shortens the distances between us. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, we are all very used to this online meetings, so it feels like you are with us right now. So distances doesn't matter. A lot of people are in Turkey, so I hope everybody's fine and okay. I just heard that before the session, I was chatting with Angela. I heard that Vancouver is raining right now. It's like 20 degrees in Toronto. That rarely happens. Usually Vancouver is like in temperature is higher than Toronto in general. But for today, it's like warmer. So that's the case. Usually Vancouver is called like Izmir of Canada. Izmir is the very nice climate city in Turkey. So that's why we're doing that comparison. Okay, so Angela, why don't you, oh, by the way, guys, if you have any questions, you can just speak up or interrupt. You can always interrupt us or just type your questions to the chat box. One more people coming. Okay. Angela, why don't you tell us about yourself a little bit?
Thank you very much. So my name is Angela Liang, and I've been working at VCC for about 10 years. And in the past 10 years, I've been doing a lot of student recruitment activities, talking to prospective students across the globe. We started with in-person meetings, phone meetings, and then later we have Zoom meetings. So it feels like I'm able to talk to students even though I'm not with them. And I'm here today to give you a little bit more information about what VCC has to offer. And yeah, so that's why I'm here today. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have and help you to make the right decision to come to Canada to study.
I think you're the right person. So 10 years in Vancouver Community College, probably you have a lot to tell us. So first the basics. Can you give us some basic information about Vancouver Community College? If you want, you can use your slides too.
Yeah, I just have
the basics.
Some numbers to share because I think by sharing the numbers, it'll be easier for you to remember exactly what VCC has to offer. Our college name is Vancouver Community College, so it obviously is based in Vancouver. We have about 13,000 to 14,000 students every year. We're one of the oldest colleges in our province. We actually have been around for more than 100 years, but our college name became Vancouver Community College in 1958. So we've been around for almost 60 years. We have a large percentage of Canadian students. A small percentage of international students. We have about 20% international students studying with us at VCC. We are known for high graduate employment rate of between 90 and 95%. Depending on the programs, depending on the time that people do a survey to find out what the graduate employment rates are, it could fluctuate. Sometimes high 80s, sometimes almost 100%, but on average, it's about 90 to 95% employment rate. We're also having small classes. And when it comes to small classes, it's a lot easier for students to learn. Because if you're in a class of 50 or 200. It's just a little bit harder for you to raise your hand, ask a question. It's harder for you to make friends. It's also a little bit harder for you to build that connection with your instructors, who might eventually connect you to jobs, connect you to the professional network. So having a small class instruction style is definitely quite beneficial, especially for international students.
That's right.
Yeah, and we have, again, students from all over the world. Here are just some pictures of our campuses that I'm showing you right now.
Well, just 20% of your students are international students, but they are from 50 plus countries, so that there's a lot of diversity there.
Yes, and only international students. The 50 plus countries are for international students, but
yeah.
Vancouver is also a very multicultural city. We have, I think, half of our population, English is not their first language. So even though you are an international student, it doesn't feel like you are coming into a place where only English is spoken. You'll be able to find people who are from many different cultural backgrounds. If we're counting Canadian students who are immigrants, then we actually have more than 100 countries that students are coming from, more than 80 countries. But when it comes to international student nationalities, that's about 50 plus.
Wow, good. These numbers, looks good, like a graduate employment rate, happy graduates, 97%. These are like really high.
They're happy with the instruction, the quality of the instruction, but that's for everybody. We also did a survey for international student satisfaction rate, and 91% of our international students said they will recommend VCC to their friends and family. So I think that's a pretty decent number too.
Yeah, good. Here's a more general question. Whenever an international student is interested in Canada, they make a decision about the city, the area. And also the question is, should I apply to a college or to a university? Also, there are like many university options in the area. Can you just clarify for us, what's the difference between a college and a university?
So there are different types of universities too. There are teaching universities that are teaching also in small class instructions. That transfer students into a university degree. There are also research universities that are focusing on research papers and projects. But for a college, typically, I don't want to generalize, but typically a college prepares students for a couple of reasons. We either prepare them for future education in a university. So we have some academic courses that they can take at our college that are the same equivalent as first-year university courses. So they can take those courses at our college for cheaper tuition, small class instruction, and then transfer everything if they have enough grades, transfer everything to a university to begin their second year studies. So that would be one option to study at a college level. The other option, which is the majority of our students, is to get a job, either to learn enough information or knowledge or skills to find a job dedicated to their fields of study, or to open up their own business, learning the skills that they need to become an entrepreneur. So educational goals are really to find a job or find a career. And that would be, I would say, 95% of our programs that we offer at the college offer that linkage to jobs. That's why we have a high graduate employment rate.
That's good. That's good to know. Another difficult question. Okay, the first one was not difficult actually, so for you. But this one I think kind of challenging. What makes VCC different from other colleges in the area?
So
what's special about you?
What's special about VCC? So like I said, there are many colleges in our province that offer a lot of academic programs, but we are known for programs that lead to employment, and not just any jobs, but jobs that are in demand of the province. I'll give you some example. We're the only institution in Metro Vancouver offering culinary arts diploma, training professional cooks. we're also the one of the very few institutions that have cosmetology programs, learning hairstyling, hairdressing, and professional esthetician positions. So a beauty program. We are the only public institution in Metro Vancouver offering a 2-year cosmetology diploma. So culinary, cosmetology. We have some trades programs that help bridge the gap, the employment gap of our provinces. And those trades programs include automotive training, automotive collision for the body of the cars, as well as automotive service technology for the engine and the functionalities of the cars. We have electronics repair technology programs, teaching students to become an electronic device or consumer electronics device repair person. We have healthcare programs, a lot of programs that really lead to career start in demand in our country as well as our province. We also, from the student services side, we're offering everything that a lot of institutions offer. But we have a learning center that provides professional tutors. When you go to many different institutions, they have tutors that are more like either on a volunteer basis or peer tutors, who may be students or sometimes instructors. But we hire professional tutors. So
I didn't know that.
There's no worry about not having enough tutors, because we actually pay them professionally. And I think there's probably one other institution in Canada that does that, but we're one of the few. So these are just some examples, but I think the most key point that I want to deliver today is the employment rate, and not just to any employment opportunity, because Canada has a lot of jobs to offer, but you're not really coming to do general labor jobs. You're coming to learn to be able to expand your professional careers in a field that is really cherished by the government, because we do not have enough people in those areas, such as healthcare, such as early childhood care education, trades, and some other professional areas.
Is there a lot of demand for early childhood educators in the area? Because a lot of my students ask me about that specifically about that program.
Yes. So I do not have children myself, fortunately and unfortunately. But a lot of my colleagues and friends were having difficulty finding a daycare, not because there's not enough daycare centers, but because there are not enough instructors. And to help with this demand, our government a few years ago have expended a lot of funding to many public institutions so that they can offer early childhood care education programs for Canadian students as well as international students. So that's why we were able to start accepting students since a few years ago, international students into the early childhood care education program. Previously, we've been offering this program for many years, but only to Canadian students. But a couple of years ago, it changed because of the government's measure. So right now, there are more daycare centers, but still, there's a wait list system going on for parents to send their kids to daycare.
Wow.
Yes, there's
wow.
So if you're coming with kids,
before.
Be prepared to probably take some time to find the right daycare that's close to you, that has availability.
Okay, thank you. What other programs do you have? Do you have a list of programs with you? You can share with us. That would be probably helpful for everyone.
Yes. So I wanted to show this to you. Remember, I was saying that many colleges. Oh, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Many colleges and universities in Canada, in BC, they offer very similar courses in the first year and second year level, and we do too. We have first year programs in arts and sciences and engineering and computer systems. We also have a 2-year program in computer science that allows students to transfer. So if your goal is not to get a job right away, but to complete your degree first and then look for a job, then these kind of university transfer programs will be a good option for you. But that's a very small component of what we offer. The majority of the programs that we offer are vocational training programs. Now, I don't have a lot of texts on this slide, right? A lot of it is pictures. And if I don't tell you that these are pictures of VCC students, you probably think these are pictures of people who are working. right? They look like stock photos, but they're not. These are actually VCC students.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they're in different programs that are very highly skilled and very applied, with very much applied curriculum and a lot of training opportunities on site as well as outside of the college. So we have automotive programs, cosmetology, the hairstyling program, and esthetician program that includes makeup, with music, healthcare assistant, fashion, CAD and BIM drafting technology program, culinary, hospitality, that we have a beverage lab. It's like a bar. Students will learn how to mix drinks, mocktails and cocktails. We
I'm
have
interested.
Sorry?
I'm interested.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually, I think we might be the only one or two or three colleges in the entire country that actually has on-site restaurant and a beverage lab for our hospitality management program. So it's very hands-on. It has a very heavy component on business management, but also another half of it is really hands-on. We want students to know how to operate the computer software when checking in guests. We want them to know how to mix drinks, how to cook, general cooking skills, how to run a restaurant. Graphic design has, for example, a photography session that teaches students how to use the lights and how pictures should look like if they want to be used professionally. Hospitality, this is another picture of our two students, one from China, the other one from Brazil, in our restaurant, doing some practices, which is open to the public, and an optician. So many programs that I just don't have enough space to show you all the pictures, but many of those programs lead to a very specific career that is needed in our country, especially in our province.
Wow, good. Of course, there's more detailed information in the web page. You can take a look from the web page. So the programs look great. What about admission requirements?
That's I'm going to talk about English first, because you'll probably find, if you're doing some research on the website, you might find that our programs have different tuition per program, because depending on how much instruction time you need or how much facilities you have to access, so tuition rates can be different. The admission requirements may be different, and also the English requirements. So admission requirements, some programs may require a math from grade 11 from high school. Some programs may require a portfolio for design programs. Some programs require high school graduation. Some programs only require grade 10 completion. So it really depends on the programs. But our requirements are not very difficult. We don't really look at your average. We look at specific courses that we need you to be successful in. So to give you an example, for culinary arts, what kind of requirements do we need? We need grade 10 completion. We need you to have some English proficiency, and we need you to have grade 10 math. Why? You need to do some conversion when you're putting together a recipe. You need to be able to do some cost control when you are running a restaurant, like if you're ordering anything for the restaurant. You need to know how much you're bringing in to be able to have a successful business. So the requirement of the program depends on what you need to be successful. We don't need you to have a straight A from high school. You just have to have the minimum grade required for the particular courses that we need you to have. When it comes to English, it's very similar. For some trades programs, it may be a little bit more higher, just because trades programs may be lower because you are not required to write a thesis or a research paper. A lot of it is very hands-on. So usually our trades programs are like 5.5, 5.0 for one program, and 6.0 for a couple. I do want to mention that the hospitality management diploma, recently there had been a change, because it's a program that can lead to a degree. So that's why it's actually 6.5. It just got changed a few days ago, and I didn't have the chance to update this yet. But yeah, it will be 6.5. For the majority of the programs that are more like requiring you to have specific skills, like managerial skills or communication skills, then you will need to have the 6.5 level.
Okay. Okay, so this barcode, when we read it, it directly gives you the English requirements for each program?
Yes, so we have a PDF document because, like
Okay,
I said, the program's requirements vary by
different, yeah.
program. So we have a PDF document, and it'll tell you for the program that you're interested, what are the IELTS requirements? What could be the TOEFL? What about Duolingo English test? What about ILAC?
Good.
Yeah, so it's
That's
quite
good.
big.
Okay. So what if a
What
student's
if?
an English?
So the same barcode. So there are some options. I know that a lot of you have great English ability because you're here listening to me talking. But in case you need a little bit of upgrading because you are just not there yet, there are some options to upgrade. If you're still in Turkey, you're not in Canada yet, and you want to have a very established study plan, we recommend students to choose one of our pathway partner language schools, either ILAC or ILSC. So these are two language schools, two of the biggest language schools in Vancouver. And they're only about 5-10 minutes by walking from our campus in downtown. So for the majority of the programs, you can apply for conditional admission, meaning that before you even complete the levels that you require, at the language schools, you can hold a seat in our program if you have a really good study plan. For example, you need 4 months of English training or 8 months of English training, or just 2 months, depends on your level. So we can provide you with conditional admission while you are still studying at the language schools. So that will be a really good option for you. If you're in Vancouver already, there are additional options available, but I'm sure Tuxel's company will be able to give you more details about what other ways might be available, depending on your English level, depending on your budget, and depending on if you really need a lot of push or just a very small push.
So again, if you have questions regarding VCC and English requirements and other requirements, just let us know. We provide free consultancy. That's you probably already know. So we will let you know about your case, specifically your personal options. What are those options we can all talk about? Okay, good. All right, I like those barcodes. I'm gonna check them out. Okay, thank you. Okay. Vancouver is not an easy city. It is expensive city, so everybody knows that, just like Toronto. What about the residence options? I saw your presentation, and there are like a lot of options. It's a very good presentation, by the way, Angela. Thank you for this. Can you let us know about the options for
So let me go back
residents?
to where we are. So in case you're joined a little bit late, I mentioned that we are in Vancouver. We're not just in the outskirts of Vancouver, we're actually in the heart of Vancouver. So here is a little map of where we are in the Metro Vancouver area. I mean, similar to Toronto, we have a lot of cities and municipalities surrounding Vancouver, even though we are a little bit smaller than Toronto. So VCC here in the green dot, we have two campuses. One at downtown, which is 5 minutes from a SkyTrain, which is like a subway station but above ground station. And the other campus is at Broadway, which is about 15 to 20 minutes away by SkyTrain if you travel from one campus to the other. Usually our students don't have to travel between campuses. It depends on what their programs are. They'll have a home campus to go to. For example, hospitality, obviously, it'll be in downtown because that's where all the hotels and a lot of the restaurants are located. Automotive programs are going to be at the Broadway campus because it has larger facilities for us to have cars brought in so our students can practice on them. Now, these two campuses are in Vancouver, very close to public transportation. I myself, for example, I live in a city called Burnaby, which is right beside Vancouver. For me to drive to Vancouver earlier in the morning when there's not really any traffic, it takes about 25 minutes to drive. If I were to take a bus, And then to take a SkyTrain again, it takes me about 40 minutes. I usually take transit, even though I can drive. I usually take transit because I don't have to worry about traffic, parking, and I get a lot of stress when I drive because there are a lot of, sometimes there are some bad drivers that do not signal when they're changing lanes. So that really gets me annoying. So I try to take transit, and then for the environment too. As a student at VCC, a full-time student at VCC can enjoy discounted bus passes. So just to give you an example, if I have to buy a bus pass for a month, that gives me unlimited access from Burnaby to Vancouver. It takes about, I have to pay about $130 or so Canadian. But as a student at VCC, as a full-time student, during your studies, you only pay about $45.
Oh,
and you can travel all the way to Langley, all the way, like all the zones in Metro Vancouver. And that's a benefit for being a public college student in Metro Vancouver. So that's the cost of transportation. Now, when it comes to accommodation, sorry, it's a very long answer. When it comes to accommodation, we do not have residence because, like I mentioned earlier, the majority of our students are Canadian students who already live in Vancouver. So there was really no need to build a residence in the past. We are planning to build some housing, but it takes time. So probably not right away, but in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll have some housing available. In the meantime, when you're coming to study before we have any housing available, there are a couple of options. You can rent a place to stay, or you can stay with a homestay family. A homestay family is usually a Canadian family that has a home. They may or may not have young children or adult children living with them, and they are opening up their homes so that international students can have an experience of how it's like to live with a Canadian family. They can be immigrant families. They could be families that have been in Canada for many generations. And usually they will rent one room. For the international student, they will cover all the utilities and Wi-Fi. They would allow you to use the common areas such as the kitchens, the living rooms. You can use the washer, dryers, and then they offer meals. It's just like a family. You're living with your family.
Yeah. Actually, the price is great because food is expensive in Canada. So when we think about that, 3 meals a day, that's included. All the facilities are, all the utilities are included. Then it's like a good price.
And especially for students who have never been abroad, or you're younger, like you're in your late teens or early 20s, it's actually a good option. But if you're coming with families or if you're coming with friends, there are other options such as rentals. So rentals, there are many rental properties available because you're not only looking at Vancouver. There are many other areas surrounding Vancouver, like Burnaby, where I live. There are a lot of opportunities available. Now, I showed this to you. I think it was about 2 weeks ago when I did this research. So I did a screenshot from roomies.ca. So this is where they're looking for roommates. So you're not going to have your own suite. You're not going to have your own living room and everything, but you'll be sharing those facilities with a housemate. But you have your own bedroom. So for example, the prices can range between $800 and $1,000 for the one bedroom, depending on where you are. And these are in Vancouver. Those are quite close to our campuses. But if you want to go outside of Vancouver area, that's also a possibility. It's not going to be too less expensive. It's probably just going to be a couple $100 difference, but you'll be a little bit farther away from Vancouver. But Vancouver is a nice area, and I don't think it's that unaffordable. It's actually pretty reasonable if you have reasonable expectations. If you want a really luxurious lifestyle, like you want to live in a high-rise building overseeing the Pacific Ocean, you have concierge at the ground floor, you have parking available. All those will come with a higher price tag, of course. But my brother pays us $800 a month for rent, because he's sharing with other housemates, and he finds it quite affordable. So it's up to you. It's up to your lifestyle.
Just a second. Okay. Okay, that's good information actually. So you might want to check this website, roomies.ca, and there are also other websites too for
There's like Rent Hello. GUC
yeah.
residence is a good option if you want, like I said, it's like a hotel living style.
Yeah, I know
A
that
little bit
place.
pricey,
Yeah.
but yeah. Search for student housing, that
Okay. Okay, thank you. So um so Turkish lira is so weak against Canadian dollar. So that brings a lot of challenge for families and students. So they need a job from first day, if possible. What about the on and off job opportunities on campus and off campus, if you have, in the city? What can you tell us about that?
Okay, so I don't know if I have I can't remember. I don't think I had a slide about jobs in the city, but I can tell
Uh-huh.
you,
This is good
everywhere I
stuff.
go,
Uh-huh.
everywhere I go, there's a
Uh-huh.
help wanted sign almost everywhere. Sometimes I wonder what's happening. Why does it look like they can't get enough people? After the pandemic, I mean, in the beginning and the peak of the pandemic, things were different. It may be a little bit challenging for some businesses that needed to follow social distancing and certain requirements, so they couldn't have too many customers coming, therefore reducing the staff. But it's no longer like that. Ever since a couple of years ago, we, especially in hotel industry and service industry, which Vancouver is known for, there are many jobs. Last summer, I don't know about right now, but last summer, I was talking to the hotel hospitality management department leaders. They were telling me that the hotels were so much in need of people. They were hiring housekeepers at $26 an hour, which is $10 more than the minimum wage per hour. So you can really imagine, why are they paying so high of a salary for something that's a very entry level job? Because they couldn't find people. And that's why I think that's one of the reasons that the Canadian government is encouraging immigrants, because we have a lot of labor shortages in many different areas. And Canada is an immigrant country. So the more people we have, the more services we need to provide for them. Therefore, more people need to be hired. So there are many job opportunities. We don't really have any on-campus jobs available. Maybe some, but very few. But that doesn't really trouble our students, because our campuses are very much in the city. And around the campuses, there's so many jobs available, many available jobs. And the minimum wage right now is, I think, $16.60, which is like the absolute minimum that any organization needs to pay if they are hiring someone. $16.60 in our province, which is one of the highest among Canadian provinces. So imagine if you are working full-time for the year, like after graduation, you're making minimum wage, which is not something that you should expect. But if you're making minimum wage, it's about $32,550 based on the current minimum wage calculation. But our students usually make more than that. Why? Because they are trained to do very particular work. For example, for accounting, the median salary posted by WorkBC, sorry, this was April, but because of inflation, the salaries are only going to go up. So this is probably lower. They are expected to make, if they're an accounting clerk, which is a very general entry-level position, salary. The more experiences they have, the more salaries they can expect. When they're working part-time, before they graduate, before they have enough experiences, they may be making less than that while they're studying, which is okay. They're gaining experiences. So these are just some examples of why I think studying in a college where you're trained to do to gain skills that are related to a particular career is so important, because you're specializing in something. You're not just learning general knowledge. You're specializing in something, which actually brings more opportunities for you when you're looking for jobs.
Good. So it's good to get educated, to focus on one single area, right? Instead of studying a general program, a targeted skills program is better to study. Is that right?
I think there may be some exceptions. For example, we have a business management post-degree program. And this program is general in a way that you learn a bit of everything in the business realm. For example, you will learn human resources, you'll learn marketing, you'll learn finance, you'll learn a bit of everything in that business administration management field. But because it's so quite general, we actually have a practicum in it that is almost 3.5 months, where our students can decide which area they want to specialize in. And I'll give you this example. So this practicum is at the last term. And that is a very good segue to employment, because usually if students are doing quite well with their practicum employers, the employers, if they have an opening, they will want the students to say if the students are doing well. So it really, it's a recent experience that they can put on their resume, which makes it a lot easier when they look for full-time jobs. And some of our students, they know they want to work in a business setting. They just don't know which direction they want to go. So that program, the Business Management Post-Degree Diploma, is really helpful because it allows students to try a little bit of everything, but then they are discussing with the practicum coordinator to find out which practicum they want to get placement in so that they can develop more skills in that particular area. We have students going into retirement housing as an HR professional. We have students working as marketing coordinators because they realize that their interest is in the marketing area. So this particular program, because we have a practicum at the very last term that allows students to specialize, choose one area to specialize in, so that even though they're not really studying something very particular, they have the practical experiences in a more defined field. So that is easier for job hunting. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you. Good. Okay. What about does the school help students find in the job search, find the job? Do you have anything like that? Any support programs?
Yeah, there are certain things that we do. So first of all, our college name is Vancouver Community College. Why the word community? That sounds like, does it sound like a neighborhood, or what does it really mean? So it really means that actually all the colleges in Canada, in BC, are community colleges. They serve a particular community that they're in. We happen to be in Vancouver, so we serve the community of Vancouver. We serve the employers or the organizations in this community to train the future employees for them. And in return, they are providing our students with part-time or full-time or practicum work opportunities. They're also letting us know what we might be missing in our curriculum. For example, hospitality management. There has been a lot of shift from the traditional tour groups that come into the hotels to individual travelers who book on booking.com. So there's a lot of changes in the customer base. There are also a lot of changes in the staff because, like I mentioned, Vancouver is a very multicultural city, and Canada is an immigrant country. So we are accepting more people from all over the world that have many different cultural backgrounds. So that's why we are constantly having to think of ways to develop teaching styles that are not just for Canadian students, but for people that have a lot of different backgrounds, culturally or linguistically, socially. So we are updating our curriculum based on the recommendation of the industries that our students will eventually work in. One of the ways that we work closely with the community is to connect our students with employers. And and how we do that is, for example, for the design programs, we have graduation shows. We have fashion graduation show. We have the grad show for jewelry art and design. So they design their own jewelry, and then we invite people who may be potential employers to come and take a look at the work that our students have done. We have graphic design showcase as well. So there are a lot of ways that our students can be connected to the employers to showcase what they have been able to do, to connect, to network, which is a very important component in the Canadian workplace and the culture of working. We have employers visiting, like for example, the top picture on the right, the Larry, which is one of the largest auto groups in Canada, selling and maintaining cars. They came with a very expensive car to show our students how it could look like in the future. Talk to students about job opportunities, advancement, pathways, if they want to eventually become in a managerial position, what kind of expectations do they have to have, and how can they work on getting promoted? This is the other picture of our jewelry art program, where they have the jewelry displayed securely in case they get stolen. Hospitality has actual interviews. We invite, I know you can't see this because it's so small, but this was actually from Shangri-La Hotel in Vancouver. The two beautiful HR ladies came and interviewed our students, and oftentimes they get jobs right away for summer, seasonal like Christmas, or full-time jobs during their break. And we also have fairs, job fairs that are open to everybody. So regardless of what programs you're in, there are many different companies looking for different talents. So it's like a big fair for everybody. We also have specific fairs just for particular programs. This one on the left, it was for the CAD and BIM program, CAD and BIM drafting technicians, where we train students to use computer software to draw blueprints and then detail prints for construction purposes or engineering purposes. So there are a lot of companies that are hiring, and we invite, I think there were 20 companies that came just for that particular program. So we have program-specific fairs for jobs. We also have job fairs for everybody, and we have one-on-one consultations, as well as job interviews for students to have either the experience or the opportunities to get hired. So that's only one component of what we do. The other example that I want to give you is the career guidance. So career guidance, we have VCC Works, which is a website within our, it's a little link on our website that allows employers to post postings to find people from VCC to work for them. We have a Ready to Work program, which is designed specifically for international students. So this program started in the pandemic because we had some students who were not able to come to Canada. They were having to study in their home countries. And then they came to Canada later, but they didn't have that part-time experience. And then they were already about to graduate. So we had a program ready to teach them how to search for jobs in Canada. How does it work? What is soft skill? What kind of soft skills do they need? Interpersonal skills. And how does it work to find a career path in Canada? What kind of options might be available? So it's a program dedicated just for international students who couldn't come to Canada during their program. But then it was so popular and students are getting so much out of it. We're continuing to offer this program even now, even though we're technically outside of the pandemic already. But we are offering it specifically for international students. So these are some examples of what we do to make sure that our students have a high chance of getting a job. And that's why they're getting jobs very easily.
Good. Wow. And this Ready to Work, is it a recorded education kind of a thing, or is it a live session?
It's a workshop that's on a hybrid basis.
Oh, okay.
The reason that we do a hybrid is because not everybody can come. Sometimes students might be working on part-time, doing some part-time work. Sometimes they may have classes because our schedules are all over the place. It could be lunchtime, they could be having lunch or having a part-time job somewhere else if they don't have classes. So that's why we want to have a hybrid version. And if students register, there will be recording available, of course. But it's just a lot more beneficial if you are attending it live. Whether it's online or in person.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, this is good. Okay, I have one more question, and I can't see any questions in the chat box, so please shoot us your questions, ladies and gentlemen. Well, what about the scholarship options?
So, we have a lot of scholarships. We don't really have an entrance scholarship right now, which is based on your previous studies. But we do believe that we are dedicating all of our resources to students who are doing well at VCC. So these are just some examples. Every year we have 2 awards period. We have June and we have November. So the data that I show you were from the June and November award ceremonies from 2022, and then also the June 2023, which just passed a couple months ago. Every award ceremony, we have a lot of international students getting scholarships. And these international students are getting different amounts of awards, and they're also from different programs. So these are just some examples. I know the lowest look like really low, but it's it feels good to be able to get something that they can put on their resume to say, hey, I've been awarded whatever award for my program. We have students getting awards all the way from $200 to $2,000. And for hospitality, some students get it twice. For example, we had a student who got one in June 2022 and another scholarship in November 2022. Nothing stops a person from getting awards twice, right? We have quite a few students who do that. And sometimes for the same programs, for example, music, they have some small awards like $200 here, $500 there, $700 there. They can actually apply to more than one as long as you qualify. Right, so these are just some examples. We did have a Turkish student in June this year who got a $1,000 scholarship from for the student's hard work, and the student was in the business and project management post-degree diploma, and that is a very specific program training project managers. So that's a specialization. Of course, we have other recipients from different countries. Here are just some examples, but yeah, we do have students from Turkey getting awards.
Okay, thank you. It's good to see a student from Turkey got that scholarship. I think he's my student. I need to check it
and
out.
We don't have a lot of Turkish students, so
yeah, probably.
Awesome.
Because I okay, I will let you know. Okay. Well, these are all my questions. I think that was great. In a very short time, we got to know about the school, the city, all the options, all the opportunities in the area. Any questions, or Angela, do you have anything else to add?
No, I want to show pictures where
Please.
students are having fun because I think it's important that you are not just here to study very hard and that's it, right? You want to have a balanced life, and there are a lot of things that we do to make sure that students are healthy physically and also mentally. We have counselors available if you need help juggling boyfriend girlfriend problems or juggling time management, not sure how to study well, what kind of study skills do you need. So we're making sure that students are staying healthy, safe and healthy, and also having fun, because you want to make this the best experience in your life.
Okay, good pictures, nice pictures. We have a question. Is that necessary for the scholarship graduate degree? I'm not sure what the question is exactly asking. What is necessary to get a scholarship? Is that the question?
I can probably answer that.
Please.
If that was the question, like if you're asking what is necessary to get a scholarship or to qualify. So the scholarship process, the selection process is not like you meet all these requirements, then you get it. It's usually a selection process. So you will need to demonstrate that you have decent grades. Your grades need to be pretty good. You have to, and depending on the scholarship, some scholarships are requiring you to submit proof of documents. For example, how are you able to demonstrate your leadership skills? That may be one requirement for some scholarships. Other scholarships may be, how are you giving back to the society? Like, are you doing volunteer work? Are you helping the others? Like that kind of thing. So it really depends on each category and each scholarship. The requirements may be different. And I suggest that you do you apply for anything that you qualify for, because you never know, you could qualify for more than one.
Yeah. So to get a scholarship, this is how it works actually in Canada. Usually you need to apply to the college and register for classes, and then usually you apply for scholarships. For example, my son just started a college in Toronto in September. We just applied for some selected scholarships, and he got one. I wasn't expecting that. I'm like, oh yeah, why not? You know.
And some scholarships, I don't know if it happens all the time, but I had one student who told me that she was surprised when she was nominated by her instructor to receive an award, because she said, I didn't know, I didn't even apply. So some scholarships, not a lot, a couple of them, instructors will do the nomination because they think that, oh, the student is pretty good, always attends classes, always asks questions, is very willing to help. So I'm going to nominate a student. That actually happened in hospitality last year. So I don't know if they'll change the criteria, but that's also a possibility. So if you're doing well, you will get recognized. But
I think that's
try
a good
to fight
strategy.
for yourself. So you need to be able to showcase that you're doing well.
And every type of scholarship has a different criteria, you know. So
different amounts, different criteria, different names.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, any other questions? Please type, or you can just speak up. All right. Angela, thank you for your time. I know this is a busy time for schools. So thank you for being here and letting us know about all the details about the city and the school. I will see you around.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining. I wish to see every one of you on campus very soon. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you can contact us for more information and for your questions. Okay. Thank you for joining. See you later. Bye-bye.